So over on Twitter, a new trend happened, and it's Refund Pete. In fact, you can see it right here. You can see it right here trending on the Twitter. Refund Pete. Check that out. There it is right there. Refund Pete. What does that mean? What's going on? Well, let's look, shall we? So Kyle Kalinske tweeted this, and this started getting retweeted a bunch of different places. Here's Pete Buttigieg. So the Refund Pete thing, before we jump into it, so the Refund Pete thing, of course, refers to Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg. It refers to Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, it's Buttigieg. That's how you say it. I like to say it like Count Chocula. People get mad. I like to go, Buttigieg, but it's actually easier for me to pronounce it like right if I do it that way. Because it's Buttigieg. According to him, that's what Pete himself said. It's Buttigieg, as if you're saying boot and then edge. It's easier to say if you do it like Count Chocula. Buttigieg. That's the right pronunciation. It's just being said in a really embellished way. People get mad when I do that. They're like, it's really juvenile, blah, blah. No, I'm actually pronouncing it right. I'm just doing an impression of a commercial from both of our youths. Because Pete and I are close to the same age. He's older than me, but, anyway. So, Refund Pete is trending because Pete Buttigieg has changed his tune about some things. And about some pretty big things. Ron, are you going to bring up the essay he wrote about Bernie Sanders in way a long time ago when he was in high school? I'm not, actually. I'm not. You know why? Because I was a different person when I was in high school politically, and I was not even politically awake in high school. I had virtually no political opinions whatsoever in high school because I was clueless. So the fact that he at least had opinions, and he had better ones, I'm not going to judge him for that. People are different when they're in high school than now. What I'm going to judge him for is what he said about a year ago versus what he's saying now on a very important piece of policy, Medicare for all. So let's go to this thread. Check this out. Here's the People's Summit, an organization. I believe they do the People's Summit in Chicago. So he said something to the People's Summit. Buh! First of all, someone brought this up on the Twitter. What does buh mean? B-U-H. Who says that? Buh. Why wouldn't you say, hey, question mark, or huh, or what, or buh? Who says that? It's pretty weird. Maybe that's huh in one of the 7 languages Pete Buttigieg speaks. But anyway, where have you heard me oppose Medicare for all? He's asking the People's Summit. I guess they said something about him opposing Medicare for all. People's Summit responds, we never said you opposed it, but where did you say you support it? Not once have you tweeted support for HR 676. We checked your handle and every possible hashtag or term. If we're wrong, please show us where you've mentioned it. Dang, it's been less than 24 hours, and I've been slightly busy. I've also been on record on this one since 2004. So he references something from 2004 where he says he supports, single-payer healthcare. No worries. We understand you're busy, says the People's Summit back, but you wrote that article 14 years ago as a student at Harvard. I don't think you were a politician 14 years ago. Also, back in high school, you supported Bernie Sanders. You certainly don't now. You don't like Bernie Sanders anymore. So you've changed between those years and now. So what are you saying now? Can you affirmatively say that we need Medicare for all now and that insurance does not belong in healthcare? Question mark. Here's what Pete says. Gosh. Now that's a little bit more universal. Gosh, I hear a lot. Buh, I've never B-U-H. What is that? Somebody pointed that out on Twitter, and I agree with them. B-U-H. What? Anyway, maybe it's a thing I'm not hip to. Gosh, says Pete Buttigieg. Okay, I, Pete Buttigieg, politician, do henceforth and for a little condescending here. He's a condescending person. He's very annoying. If you find that clip where somebody asked him if he was going to take money, if when he says he wants money out of politics, if that includes taking donations from billionaires, and he just said no. I don't know how anybody likes this guy. But anyway, gosh, okay, I, Pete Buttigieg, politician, do henceforth and forthwith declare most affirmatively and indubitably unto the ages that I do favor Medicare for all, as I do favor any measure that would help all Americans get covered. Now, if you'll excuse me, potholes await. Gee, Pete, that tweet sure hasn't aged well. And guess what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I bet you that South Bend, Indiana still has potholes. I bet you anything. If you're in South Bend, Indiana, let me know in the comments section, because I bet they still got potholes. I bet they still got potholes. I bet they still have an over-militarized racist police force that's gone unchecked. I bet they still have all those things. And when did Pete Buttigieg say this, by the way? A year ago. A year ago. So Pete Buttigieg claimed he was for Medicare for all. And that was a lie. He's not for Medicare for all. He is against it. In fact, if you watch our video from yesterday, Pete Buttigieg uses right-wing talking points that are over 10 years old to smear Medicare for all. It's going to take away jobs. Now, it's also going to give a bunch more jobs. And thousands of people aren't going to die on the streets because of lack of health care. And people aren't going to be paying as much for health care, which is going to benefit our economy. It's going to create more jobs, not just in the healthcare sector, because you're going to need people to operate the program. You're going to need people to operate Medicare for all. That comes with jobs all across the country. But it's also going to create more jobs. Why? Because people are going to have more money in their pocket. We're going to be spending trillions less on healthcare overall. So people are going to have more money in their pocket. That's going to equal jobs. And Lucy's here. Lucy wants to say hello. Because she's saying she knows a bullshit right-wing talking point from over 10 years ago. Because she was around for it. Kind of outing you, girl. I'm sorry. But Lucy is over 10. Right, Luce? She's like, why are you telling them my age? I didn't tell them your age. I just said over 10. That's all I said. Over 10. Here, I'll go back to this so you can get. There's Luce. See her? Lucy says hi. A lot of you guys are like, Ron, don't wear black shirts on the stream, because I just happen to own a lot of black shirts. I'm sorry. I can't. I'd have to wear the same shirt like almost every day if I only wore shirts where like she would show up perfectly when she's on my lap. So, I mean, I can do that. But you guys have to let me know. Be like, Ron, we want you have to get a uniform that's a bright color. It says like Ron on it. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll get a Get Your News On With Ron shirt, and I'll just wear it for the stream every day. I won't wear it all day. I'll just wear it for the stream, and that'll be like blue or something like that so that she doesn't blend in. Maybe I'll do that. Patreon.com/Ron Placone if you were so able. Help make that a reality. All right. Anyway, so Pete Buttigieg. Now, here's something else Pete Buttigieg did. Or, well, not him directly, but Jordan Chariton exposed this. Check this out. Jordan tweeted this out late last night. Breaking, Pete Buttigieg campaign calls the cops on New York City activists protesting his big dollar fundraiser. That's from Jordan Chariton. So this is from New York Communities for Change. Rather than coming out to talk with working class New Yorkers or letting us in, it's cold out here, Pete Buttigieg called the cops on us. Why did Wall Street Pete come to a campaign in our city if he's afraid to talk to us? So here they go.
Is that what it said? He called the cops on us? No peace. Where is Pete? No peace. Where is Pete? No justice, no peace. Where is Pete? No justice, no peace. Where is Pete? No justice, no peace.
They were chanting, "Where is Pete? No justice, no peace. Where is Pete? No justice, no peace." I like that. It's pretty clever. Pretty clever. And Pete Buttigieg called the cops. They called the cops on people protesting his big Wall Street big donor event. The same guy who wouldn't do anything about a racist police force has a campaign that calls the cops on black people who are protesting his big dollar fundraiser. Interesting. Pete Buttigieg is the candidate for people who called the cops on Kagers on Saturday night when they were in college because they needed to study. That's who he's the candidate for. People who when they were in college would call the cops on parties going on in the neighborhood in the weekend because they were trying to study. That is who he's the candidate for. And people who don't care about policies because I guess they're rich. People who don't really care about what happens in the country because they have means. That's who Pete Buttigieg is for. It's exactly who he's for. So there you go. Calling the cops on black activists. And completely lying about Medicare for all. That's what Pete Buttigieg is doing. All right. Thank you Thank you to Jordan Cheriton and New York Communities for Change. Thank you, Jordan Cheriton, for tweeting that out and amplifying it. And thank you, New York Communities for Change, for showing up there and protesting. That's awesome.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your